Welcome to the Lost at Home podcast. Here are your hosts, Scott Bear and Jeremiah Johnson.
Welcome to the Lost at Home podcast. My name is Scott.
And I'm Jeremiah.
We are back for episode 249, almost a landmark.
That's right, getting very close to landmark season, landmark being 250. We've gotten lazier over the years, we just have redefined what landmark means. We used to do a special episode every 25 or so.
Yeah, we did.
We don't want to, that's like, 225 is nothing.
Well, 25 felt special when we had 50, under 100 episodes.
Yes, but then once you get to 100, it's like celebrating your 1 year and 2 month anniversary with a significant other or something like that. 2 month anniversary might be one thing, but once you get that, you stop counting months. So yeah, 250's coming up. We got a bunch of good stuff for you in the works. And by that, I mean we are going to beg you all for money in the form of a pledge drive, kind of telethon. Telethon can mean TV and phone, right? Because
I believe we'll just go to pledge drive.
Yeah, pledge drive. A la PBS. I know you all have heard plenty of those. NPR, I should say, because PBS has the visual ones. NPR is always there, asking you for money because they need it or whatever. So we're gonna do the same thing, but we have way more fun content to bring you. We've got some extra sponsors popping up to help us out as well. We've got some new song pieces, some exclusive movie trailer access. We're gonna have a great time.
All right. Besides that, do you have any Prime news for us this week?
It's actually just 3 times 83 is the Prime factorization of 249.
Boring as fuck.
Yeah, not really. I mean, it is interesting because it's like there's a huge prime in there, so 83 it can only break down into 2 numbers, even though it's 249. But it's not really that fancy.
But that's easily digestible to the average listener. Besides all those times where
you're
like, it's a this and a that, and it's a this and a that. Like,
it's a palindromic number, 383. I mean, granted, it's only 3 digits, so there's a lot of those, but so, whatever.
Let's list them.
1, 2, 3. I don't think single digits ones count. Oh, it's the same backwards as forwards.
Yep.
No, when I put the 2 backwards, it looks like a backward 2. It's true.
All right. Well, we've changed the format of the show slightly recently, and we're going to keep on with that new format. This is a show where we take the stories from the deepest, darkest parts of the internet. We bring them to the surface, stories you've never heard before, and we tell them to you and then twist them into new internet content.
Yes. That we are copywriting by telling you this stuff.
We hope there's a legal precedent for that being actual
We
truth
have no idea if
fact,
there is, so fuck it, run with it and make something if you need to, but you might get sued.
But before we jump into that, we've been discovering recently in the year 2019, there's a lot more stories
so many
out
stories.
there.
Now,
way more than we can cover.
Well, and back in the day, like in 2018 and beyond, and before times, I like to call them, we used to just kind of pass by these stories that like sounded really funny, but we're like,
just call them the before days?
The before times.
The before times.
Yes.
I miss that old Ice Cube song, Before Times.
Yes.
Those songs of yesteryear that give us nostalgia, like Before Times.
Yes. Before Times was a classic. And the before times were classic. We used to have so many stories that we'd come across where we're like, well, we can't really flesh this out into new content, or this isn't quite good enough for a full web dropping.
Sometimes
so
it's the title of a story that's the whole story,
and it's great. But we're like, oh man, there's no content there. But we realize we've been depriving our listeners.
It's gonna go for squeezing the orange, but
because of my physical gesture.
Yes, because I can see you as the listener can't, and I figured you were about to say we were squeezing the orange.
No, I was pulling something out of the ether, and I was depriving the user.
Birthing that calf.
Yes, we are.
That's what you just did now.
We are birthing the calves
of that orange,
of the orange from our users, and that's just not something we need to do. We got enough stuff here, so we're gonna bring back a rapid fire segment we started bringing back last week for the first time in 2019. It's not going to be every week necessarily, but as
only
we find
when
enough,
it needs to be.
Yes, absolutely. So this isn't a
rapid
promise.
Fire could also be one story.
That's right. It almost was this week, and then a bunch of new ones that almost made it to web droppings got plumped in there. Now, we asked last week if anybody had any ideas for the rapid fire title, because rapid fire was a placeholder. I came up with 4 that are not actually serious, and then we have an actual user submission. So I'll put mine out. Just tell me how you feel about any of these. All right. So we got the snappies, because they're snappy, huh? Like the snappies? Okay. No can do? Okay. I felt like it seemed old timey. Like, come on, we got the snappies, like the talkies. You know, nimble nuggets because they're fast, but they're like nuggets too. But so too close to droppings, I guess.
Okay.
This one put a lot of work into story chunks.
You know, I kind of like it the most so far.
It actually fits the best. The quick gigglies, that's another one like the snappies. But then we had actually a user submission from probably this user. Listener, I should say, listener submission. This listener probably holds the record for ingesting our material the fastest. Because it'd be one thing if you came to our show when we were 10 in, you're like, I listened to all your episodes. But this listener came in when we had like hundreds of episodes. I mean, a couple hundred after or so, right?
Over 200.
Yeah, and listened to them all in I would say a relatively just a short period of time. I don't even know how it's humanly possible. But anyway, so this is now known as Caesar the Flat on Instagram. Recommended M134 minigun, and this is actually the reason I like this is because news, yes, M134 minigun news. And the reason for this is actually fits pretty well with our show is because it's a little tidbit of information, a little trivia behind it. Because according to the Guinness Book of World Records, or I think just Guinness World Records they call it now because it's not a book anymore, the machine gun in service with the highest rate of fire is the M134 minigun, designed in the 1960s. Oh, the swinging 60s. This weapon spat fury from helicopters and armored vehicles. A 7.62 millimeter caliber gun fired at a super fast pace of 6,000 rounds per minute. That is 100 rounds per second. By the way, I have not fact checked any of this. This could have just been somebody, this could be this listener trolling us and just being like, they're going to read it because they're not going to fact check because they're going to trust me. You're right. We did trust you. Okay? So this better be real. Granted, fact checking would have been literally typing it into Wikipedia, but I don't have time for that shit.
Now that is 5 submissions, 4 by us, 1 by a user. I'm not going to vote this week. I say we do one more week of testing the waters.
Oh, absolutely,
and we see where we end up.
Yeah, we could do one of those things where we change the title every week as well until we find the right one. But anyway, so that's the longer introduction than the stories will probably actually take us for rapid fire. Going to start right out with something folks may have heard of, that Heinz, just in time for Valentine's Day. We need to get your, be all fancy, you got to put on a tie and a suit maybe, go out with your lady, special dinner, have a special dinner. If you need something like ketchup, you're going to get like a dirty look. Heinz has created ketchup caviar, which is our little ketchup balls that you spoon onto your food to make it look fancier, but it just tastes like ketchup. Yeah. Moving on to keeping with the food.
Why?
First of all, I could definitely tell by the Twitter account where they posted this from, and because they're giving away apparently Heinz.
What, Heinz Pinky Out?
Their signature edition. Yeah. First of all, the packaging is really nice. It comes in a really tiny container because we all know that when
tin.
No, it's still a jar, but it's a little short jar with like a little ribbon seal on it, things like that.
Okay.
And it has, a fancier font. It is the 150th anniversary of Heinz this year, from what I understand. And so they're giving away 150 of these little bottles, I think on Twitter or social media of different kinds or whatever. So it's part promotion, part comedy, but it works because it gets them a little viral attention.
I have one question. What fish does this caviar come from?
The ketchup fish, dum-dum.
Moving on.
Yeah, hey. Yeah, you go to ketchup. I lost it. It was ketchup fish.
Nope. We are never going to work for Heinz in their PR department. We failed and suck.
No. We would do poorly in some PR departments. I still want to get a job for Fireball Whiskey. Fireball. Give me a job.
Unofficial sponsor of the Lost Gnome
Yes,
podcast.
we have not. They've
liked our tweets.
I've not had a which makes me. I feel like
they've liked our tweets.
I feel like Martin Luther King Jr. could come back and from the dead and like my tweet, and I'd say, I don't need your tweet. I got liked by Fireball Whiskey. Yeah.
Hard stance right after Martin Luther King Day.
Oh, that's why I brought him.
Hard stance.
Fresh on the mind.
Hard stance.
Fresh on the mind. Then we'll all forget about him for a while again.
Next story.
Just kidding. We won't forget. Never forget. Next story was keeping with the food theme. Johnsonville sausages recalled for possibly containing black rubber.
Possibly.
Yes.
That's it?
Well, there are they have had black rubber found in some of their.
So there's definitely
there
black
is,
rubber
in some of them, but not all of them. In other words, you could eat your Johnsonville sausages. These are not all of them. These are the grillers. They're little patties, and apparently they contain different rubber than they usually put in their patties, which is apparently not. I think they were just.
You don't want that black rubber.
No.
You want that soft pink rubber, like the end of a pencil.
Yeah. It's like that's where like they all the like old pencils go, like the little piece of the eraser go to this Johnsonville sausages plant.
That's what gives them their signature taste.
I think 48,000 pounds of sausages ultimately were recalled. It turned out that and this is actually a totally understandable thing. A rubber gasket from the industrial equipment fell off. Chunks of it, it's a tiny little gasket. Chunks of it got into a few people's sausages, but obviously they have to recall the entire batch during that window because
I'd say just tell people.
Just people. You might eat. So hey, prize
you might
inside.
eat a piece of rubber gasket. Guess what? It won't hurt you.
Yeah, you're like, this one has a little extra flavor than the usual Johnsonville.
It literally won't hurt you.
No, you're gonna be fine. It sounds like it's a little chunk, and then people like. And also, how can you tell that from like the fake little pieces of peppercorn and stuff they put in there, which are probably
the fake pieces of gristle?
Yeah.
They worked for years to create fake gristle.
Yeah.
Can you make an inedible component to this?
Oh yeah. Where do you work? I work for the gristle department at Johnsonville. So yeah, I actually think Johnsonville was just trying to slip one through past the government shutdown. They're like, guys, FDA's not watching. Quick, load it up with that rubber. We can't fucking pay to get those tires shipped out.
And then the government started back up, and they're like, oh, no, fuck.
We missed the cutoff, boys. All right.
Now, you got the next one. Jenny McCarthy, there's a death toll website for her.
Yeah, devoted essentially for, I would say, the movement of stupidity that she helped.
It starts on the day she said autism was created by blah, blah, blah. Jenny McCarthy's dumb, blah, 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 blah.
Yes. Vaccines, blah,
basically
blah,
she said
autism, blah, blah, blah. Don't vaccinate,
she's an
blah,
airhead
blah, blah.
idiot piece of trash, and there was a website that literally
I trust her over science any day.
I believe the body count was up to 150,000 people have died.
Well, it was not those were the number of illnesses. There about 10,000 preventable 10,000 preventable deaths between 2007 and 2015. Those are directly attributed
to what she said
to people that could have prevented it had they had vaccines. Now that's not saying necessarily that all those people weren't anti-vax ahead of time. Some of them may have.
No. But this just makes it funnier that we can all blame it on her because she was the first high-profile celebrity to open a stupid mouth.
It opened the floodgates. I mean, I'm sure some of those people just wouldn't have had vaccines. They didn't have this is United States, by the way. We have this from the CDC, we're medical organizations. They put preventable diseases, preventable illnesses. But yes, the preventable illnesses, about 160,000, I think, somewhere in there. Pretty insane.
It actually reminds me of the fact that we can all blame autism deaths on Jenny McCarthy opening her mouth and being a high-profile celebrity.
Anti-vax deaths.
Anti-vax deaths. Yeah. And then, autism doesn't kill you.
Yes. Well, and also none of it, like her thing was that it leads to autism. And I think one of the factors at the bottom there is zero deaths. Zero cases of autism attributable to vaccinations based on scientific study. So there is literally during that time, best case scenario, she's helped kill 10,000 people. Now that might sound a little harsh, but guess what? When you're like that, I don't know, blasé about your stances and you don't bother paying attention to science, you say, no, these things work. I understand why you might not care about, paying attention to pharmaceutical companies and whatnot and be a little reluctant, but, we don't have smallpox anymore. Can you just point to that one thing? Go, see?
Let's remind
now we do. Like, it's popping back up. Anyway, this is supposed to be rapid fire, but,
we usually don't go this long into it, but it reminded me of the fact that I heard, I think it was a month or two ago, there was a celebrity, a woman, a singer, I believe, and she is considered 100% responsible for Trump becoming president. And it is based on the fact that she, it's not Paul Abdul, but it's someone like that. They were going to get offered a certain amount of money to be on a certain reality show. And because they balked at the amount of money, Trump got it. I think it was The Apprentice, obviously. And, it was something like that. So it was one
of those butterfly effect things.
Yeah,
where
like a very
she was the butterfly
thing.
flapping her breeze in the wind. It sounds like a sexual thing. She was just sitting on that porch flapping her breeze at me. What am I supposed to do? Not go up and take advantage?
Yeah.
But
you, Jer, and listeners out there can, if you're diligent enough going through Google, I just tried really quickly, and it's actually a deeper wormhole. You need just the right words to find it, apparently.
Yeah.
There is a single female singer celebrity, I believe, who is 100% responsible for Trump if you really want to go down the rabbit hole of how far back can you say it started.
Yeah.
Because if they had taken a certain contract, Trump wouldn't have, maybe wouldn't have gotten as famous on this Apprentice. XYZ, he's president, or wouldn't have been. So.
Yep. So, for good or for better or worse, depending on your political stance, you can blame or praise this person for doing so. Anyway, so moving along to the next rapid fire segment. This is actually a follow-up to one of our earliest stories. I almost actually kept this one in web droppings because I ended up finding a couple of... I came up with my own little tidbits after this, but one of the earliest stories we ever recorded, I can't remember which episode it was, definitely in probably the first 25, 50 or whatever.
Easily, yeah.
We covered Florida banning dwarf tossing, and we went into detail there, so go back and listen to every single one of our episodes, much like Caesar the Flat / Stuff with the Trap did back in the day, so you can find it, because I'm not going to look for it. But anyway, we got into our thoughts and feelings on this, but it's essentially you can go to certain bars and you can they have dwarf tossing competitions. There's kind of these big crash pads like you would have in gym class. I don't know if kids have gym class anymore, but they used to. Where I don't know, look at us. Such a fat fuck.
I like that's a thing that you're ambiguous about.
I haven't. What? I mean, I just haven't. I don't have kids, and I haven't been creeping out on schools. I'm like, you know what? Cursive went. Maybe fucking gym went. But anyway, so so they would have these dwarfs, people with dwarfism, in helmets and padding and stuff, and they would have people take them and throw them as far as they can, sort of like a javelin toss.
Be careful with calling someone a dwarf, by the way. I got harassed hardcore on Reddit the other day, and Caesar, formerly Astolfo, came to my defense on Reddit because someone would not drop the point that if you suffer from dwarfism, you are a dwarf. He would say only this argument: dwarves are fantasy characters that are in Lord of the Rings.
Oh, so this person is just ignorant. Okay.
I ended up PMing them because I didn't want to keep this fight going in public, and you are a fucking moron.
Yeah. Wow, that is amazing.
And then the person lied when Caesar / Astolfo piped in and defended me and said that I said that they weren't even humans.
I hope we're not like Instagram
in DM, which I didn't. I can show you my DM conversation. I would never say that about someone of small stature. That's a horrible thing to say about anyone, but that's the defense they used against me when other people piped up. It's like, well, this person said they're not even people. They're not even humans. I'm like, nope, just said you're a dummy because you wouldn't say a dwarfism suffering human is a dwarf.
Yes. And the fact that people
dwarves are from Lord of the Rings.
And the fact that so many people instead are like, we call them little people. I'm like, is that better? Like, that's a fucking terrible thing to say too. Come on. So I feel like actually using the medical terminology, shorter version of that, a dwarf would make more sense.
Yeah,
than
just
something that people
are
made
dumb.
up to make themselves feel better. But
thank you again for the defense. I didn't pipe back in to chime in anymore. I was done with it by the time the defense happened.
Yeah,
it was a day later.
I also want to make sure that we're not to make a call back to a couple weeks ago, dead naming a sort of Instagram dead naming Caesar by using his old Instagram handle. So.
Fair enough. We'll find out within a couple days, I bet, whether we are or not.
I came up with a few other things that I hope aren't on the chopping block. These are fictional games because we don't like to spread fake news. But I kind of wish these would exist. But if these existed, these would also be at risk. The epileptic egg carry. That would be... Nice. I actually kind of... Oh, by the way, all of these I want to make, except for probably this next one, which is retard boxing, which I don't...
Oh, my God.
The quadriplegic three-legged race. Baby juggling. Now, that's not babies juggling. That's people juggling babies. And then another one that's probably on the chopping block is dwarf skipping, where you
skip like stones in a lake?
Yeah, like skipping stones, which is tough because they have a low they have a lot of body mass tucked in. That one, they're probably
like that guy who's
dense,
like the giant on Game of Thrones. He could do it.
Yeah. Oh, exactly. I feel like that would be hilarious. Like you take it's
he
like
just
that guy.
Peter Dinklage across the lake.
Yeah, just Peter Dinklage.
Hey, your Emmy's on the other side.
That fucking dwarf. Anyway, so that's the Washington news coming straight out of Washington. Got the last piece of rapid fire, pretty fun. Anybody in Texas, about 95 miles north of Houston is where this is located, and Texas is big, so just because you're from Texas or in Texas doesn't mean you can make it. But if you're near there, near the Houston area or within 100 miles or so where you want to check this out, Chuck Norris is hosting a May 4th 5K race in Texas where runners are asked to dress like Walker the Texas Ranger. It might have the benefit of breaking a world record and having the most people dressed like him in public at the same time, which I didn't know was a record already set, but I'm wondering if it is.
By actual Texas Rangers at, like, Academy.
Yeah.
Wow, there's
true.
40 people in the graduating class. Guess we hit a new record for looking like Chuck Norris.
I'm going to say this.
No, we're
think it
actually just normal Rangers.
Yeah. We do all have goatees and wear the ridiculous hat, but we're Rangers. We're real people. No, we're gonna call it. It is what it is. That is either Story Chunks or M134 Minigun News.
All right, now you're bringing back an old segment.
Yes, another
rather old. This is AAA awesome or asinine apps.
Yes,
we haven't done this in a while. Is this an app?
I'm putting it in as an app because it's a startup. I think it's probably like a website / ordering thing more than an app, but I'm not 100% sure. So
okay.
I'm kind of using app as, all encompassing. This is like a startup company.
Okay.
Technically not an app probably, but it definitely didn't fit quite for web droppings, and it's sort of like a tacky little whatever. This is about a company named called Vaev, VAEV. I still don't think it's real, despite multiple, high-profile news outlets picking it up and
Time.
Time was the first one that got it. This actually was originally dropped like 10 days ago, but it caught like wildfire across multiple organizations. And this is now the reason I'm still thinking it's not real is because, first of all of these news organizations, when they interviewed this person, said the first thing we asked is it real? And we asked it multiple times, and the person even said, the owner of this company even said, everybody thinks it's a joke. It is not. Now, what this is a company that is selling sneeze-filled tissues, snotty tissues, for $80. From pretty much what they're doing is getting people who have the cold virus to sneeze into these tissues. There we go.
Yep.
And then package them in kind of like one of those culture collection petri dish. There you go. Yep. And sending them to you. Probably most of what you pay for the $80 for is the processing and the dish, so that when you get it on your terms, you can give yourself the bacteria or whatever it is that causes.
This is the worst idea ever.
Well, first of all, it's many doctors have just said this just doesn't work. It would be it is almost guaranteed.
There's so many strains.
Well, yes. Well, it's also just guaranteed that you're these illness, the germs are just not going to survive on the napkin or
possibly,
tissue.
Yeah, possibly.
Unless the person were to sneeze into probably this sterile environment into the petri dish and then immediately close it with absolutely no it's not likely, just based on the shipping and all of this stuff about whether or not it would actually work.
But if it could work, you might be opening yourself up for the liability of killing someone. If someone
That's true as
elderly
well,
did
yes.
this, got the cold, and died from it.
Yep.
Because elderly people, they die from everything.
Oh, yeah.
Mainly Time.
Yeah, Time. The magazine, not the...
Yes, mainly Time.com.
Time.com is responsible for more deaths than Jenny McCarthy. You heard it here first in the Lost Over
Overall,
podcast.
it's dumb. You just don't make yourself sick. The idea is getting sick on your own terms.
But
you could also get sick a week later from another cold virus that's 100% different, since there's usually 20 different strains going around
absolutely.
at once.
And we were getting more and more super viruses and super flus and super colds coming out of things every day. But what I'm going to do is actually play the 30-second advertisement so you can hear them try to, in the most startup-y way possible, shove this down your throat. Here you go.
You tear your muscles to become stronger. You learn to fall to become a dancer. You callous your fingers to become a musician. Why is your immune system any different? Introducing a tissue powered by the human body for the human body. This flu season, Keep your immune system feeling like your immune system. Vave.
So yeah, they're pretty much likening it to when you go to the gym to work out and you tear your muscles and you get stronger. But guess what? Shit just don't work that way. I mean,
not quite
really,
how it
okay.
works.
And actually, this does tie into one of the things. One of the reasons they say they're bringing this out there, and another reason why I think it might ultimately be one of these long-term troll things. We find it's probably some prankster, well-known prankster with money that's doing this, and they let it kind of ride for a while. But it's because they're saying that because of the anti-vax movement, a lot of people aren't necessarily getting vaccinated against a lot of things. You can get vaccinated against the flu and things like that, but they won't do it. But they do like the thought of natural vaccinations, which is essentially what vaccines do, which is fucking hilarious. They're saying vaccines work, but not when they're administered by a doctor. So they're saying, essentially you make you're introducing the virus in little bits and pieces into your system so your body can fight it, and then that way when you actually encounter the real thing, your body knows how to fight it all at once instead of getting it all at once. That's the very simple way that vaccines work, of course. So this person's saying by doing this, you can essentially on your own terms take this piece of snotty tissue, rub it on yourself, and go, that's some good germs. Yeah, that's how I picture it.
This is moronic.
I
don't waste $80.
I think it's gonna come back that this is I would be curious if anybody's tried to actually order one of these. If one of these journalists actually went on to order it, or if it's like maybe it's even pre-order stage, because the person when they were interviewed, the owner of the company said was asked about how many employees they had. They said they had about 8, but would not divulge any names. That's actually relatively common for companies anyway. They don't want to necessarily put a lot of other people's names out there and then have people contact them. They got no word back from the contact form or anybody but this one owner. They could not find their business incorporated as an actual business entity in the United States when they were looking, although they do believe based on the Twitter handle and the IP address that it's actually probably a Danish or somewhere in that realm. Anyway, it's the word "vave" is actually Danish for tissue, apparently. So
interesting.
So yeah, I am still waiting, and I'm saying this because maybe by the time the story comes out, who knows? Maybe some people have actually already debunked it or whatever. I'm waiting. I, for the love of God, want this to be a fake story, because if this is what people are doing. Granted, this isn't the common thing, but seriously. I mean, fuck it, seriously.
This is just dumb.
It's ridiculous. It does have nice packaging in the pictures.
Oh, yeah. No, it's very pretty.
It's like
but
a little
probably only
drawer
made
with a piece
5 of them to send to these news
yeah,
outlets, so
these are the
no
prototypes.
more exist.
Yes, exactly. These are prototypes of... And you know damn well, it's probably like a right-wing conspiracy, and they're actually sending like anthrax to these fucking people. And they're like, oh, cool. Oh, I'm going to open this up and take a tissue up, because it's these fake news organizations that are getting these stories. So yeah, that is Awesome or Asinine Apps, otherwise known as AAA.
All right, now we're moving into web dropping. All right, for the first story, this is the only one I brought to the table this week, so I'm going to be excited to hear what Jer has. But before we get into that, spider bites Australian man on the penis again.
Yes. Okay, the first part of this...
Keyword.
Yes, first part of this probably wouldn't be a qualifier to necessarily bring it to the table. It's hilarious. Also, by the way, if anybody's like, oh, they should have Bruce do this story. Well, y'all don't know what happened to Bruce, do you? You won't know until episode 250 when you tune in for the Lost Down Under in America season finale with Bruce and Jason Jr. coming in episode 250 next week. Or in the past, depending on when you're listening to this.
Yeah, pretty much.
All
right, so I'm going to go a little bit through to the story here. The man in question, he did not want his surname put out into the public.
Big surprise.
He feels a little embarrassed, I think.
Yeah, I'd say like the first time.
Yeah.
I would be embarrassed by it enough. It'd be funny because this already says again. If he definitely gave his name in the first time it happened, because all he did, they had to go to is like spiderdicksdatabase.com and
Spider prick.
Yeah, spider prick. Where and look up like which Australians in the last I don't know. It said there was an incident.
I feel like this happens so
ago.
often. There's no database. They just are like, happens.
Not a gold got chumped on the willy then. Oh, that wasn't Australian at all. That's why we need Bruce back.
Yeah, we do. All right, next episode maybe.
Yeah.
Most likely.
Yeah.
All right.
Unless he's dead.
He said that being bitten the first time had made him wary of using portable toilets.
Yes. Yeah, that's the thing is
he's a tradesman, as they call it, so he's a worker.
Yes.
So yeah, he uses portable toilets.
And
on
it's
his work
Australia,
site.
so he probably like batted a snake off the toilet seat to get to the pisser to begin with.
Pretty much. So he got bit the first time on his penis while using a portable toilet on a job site. And this is a quote: "After the first time it happened, I really didn't want to use one again."
Yeah, that's
Speaking
PTSD.
of the porta potties.
Yeah.
But
not a spider.
the spider, yeah. I didn't want to use the spider.
I didn't want to use a spider on my penis ever again, but boy, sometimes the need just arises.
But then he said the toilets got clean that day, and he thought it was my opportunity to go use one. I had to look under both seats, and then I sat down and did my business. Next thing you know, I'm bent over in pain. Basically, the spider bit him in the exact same spot or near to as the previous one.
It marked it last time. If you actually zoom in close enough, it's a little spider X on it. It's like, ooh, this was a tasty dick. And it knew. It was like, oh, fuck. The dude's back. I've been waiting for his juicy cock like for fucking ever. Only he's saying it in an Australian accent, which I can't quite do. But the have and then just he's so he's guess what? This man is never using one of those portable toilets ever again. I think even if they it was.
Oh, I would never after once.
No. I think even if he went
brought
to
a fresh one today, huh? Nope.
Yep.
Nope.
Well, yeah, it would
Nope.
be like in a conference center where people are like, it's like a conference for these portable, tryouts for portable John's toilets, and has never even been out in the wild, and it's a prototype, and the man would not go and use it because that's PTSD right there. After once, it is.
I feel like a portable John is what like the local police use to catch hookers.
just throw it out and like inflates on its own. It's like one of those inflatable guys. Only with the dicks inflated.
They're the portable John on the corner of State and Maine. See what happens.
Yeah. That's the sound of it.
One
Erecting.
arm just has bills.
Yeah.
They just wave.
And the other one's stroking a dick.
Yeah.
And you're like, well, it's either a portable John for a sting or one of those politician guys trying to get our attention.
You know, that might work solidly as our added content, because I don't feel like there's a whole lot you can do to twist to this, except for maybe like Australian fear factor, where you die or get maimed.
Yes, yeah.
Like, we're to put you in this tub with these normal grasshoppers from Australia, but they can kill me. Well, they're just normal Australian grasshoppers. That means they'll kill me.
I think the least poisonous thing in Australia is man.
Australian fear factor is just people getting put in like coffins with different bugs that we were like, oh, earthworms, dead,
or
grasshoppers, dead,
or just going like about their daily life. It's literally just guys like working at an
Australian
office.
fear factor.
Yeah, they're like, all right, go to work. All right,
and then, show up, sit at your desk. Something.
Oh, a bit more snake.
Yeah, and you just die.
Oh, I knew it was going to happen again.
Yeah, Australian Fear Factor, every episode starts in home. There's no sound stage. They literally have to be like, so, ma'am, what do you fear today? Well, leaving the house.
Yeah, no.
First and foremost, leaving the house. Well, what do you think is the worst that could happen? Death.
Yeah,
Just death.
Yeah, and honestly, I also fear staying in the house. There's that too. That terrifies me. So you live in a constant state of fear, ma'am. Oh, yes. You'd almost say it's a fear factor. Why'd you say factor 3 times? I didn't know if you're going to have delay. It's Australia. We haven't gotten that here yet.
There is the extra bonus content.
Yes.
There's really not much more to the story. They brought him to the hospital. It was venomous. It hurt like a dickens.
That's what I was going to ask. I actually
He's alive. He didn't lose his dick.
I will say that I just assumed because I heard the word Australia that it was venomous, but I'm glad you clarified that because I was about to ask, was it venomous?
Yeah, it caused severe pain, swelling, and nausea.
Yeah, okay. So it's not
Look
one of
how big my dick is. Sir, you almost died.
Yeah, but it's so big. It's a Cronin dick. What the fuck, man?
Like thinking all the wrong places.
Yeah, it's like
sir, your dick looks like anal beads.
with a giant fucking squash.
How long will this last like this? I've always wanted to try something.
My tip looks like a
You've
butternut
always wanted
squash.
to try to fuck someone in the ass with a dick shaped like anal beads?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Actually, let me type that into Pornhub. 14,050 results. Man, fucking
That's
woman.
it?
Oh yeah, no, it's a niche industry. That's for sure. So I'm gonna get some work out of this one. I'm gonna
like Cronin dick.
Yeah, my Cronin dick. It's got a tip like a butternut squash and a shaft like a bunch of anal beads. Yeah, that's an arm. That's an arm, all right. That's my vegetable twin, not vestigial or whatever.
Ooh, I like that. Vestigial.
Vestigial, right? Yeah.
Vestigial versus vegetable.
Yeah, my vegetable twin.
Ooh, that could be a game all in itself. I don't even know what.
I don't know what.
There's
Yeah,
a game there.
There's definitely an empty promise to be made in that regard.
Vestigial versus vegetable.
Yeah.
I don't even know where that would go because it can't be things pulled out of you. Those are all going to be vestigial.
Yeah, but it could be, I
don't know. Maybe it's a food contest.
I mean, it could just be like a blind taste test where you have to eat something and tell whether it's a
vestigial organ or
a
vegetable.
Yeah. Well, this is a piece of meat or some organic matter that came from a body.
This is a carrot. No, that's your pancreas.
Yep.
Or wait, what's vestigial in a human? Tailbone, appendix.
I was always
appendix?
I was also just thinking of like the twins, like the little twin that people are like, oh, we found a twin in your brain, which is a story that actually happened recently.
They take out, or they used
tonsils.
to take out. Yeah, they don't take those out anymore.
Well, they used to take them out prematurely. You can still get infections and they'll take them out and they'll get rid of them. They used to take them out prematurely with kids.
Hey, Jerry, you know what?
They might as well have done that with the
appendix.
appendix.
Of this. I have every one of my vestigial organs.
I do not have an appendix.
I have my appendix and my wisdom teeth. And
I have my wisdom teeth, but I got to get them out. Yeah.
I even have my balls.
Yep. Nope. Lost those with my tonsils. They were supposed to take my tonsils out. Took my balls out. So I still got my tonsils, but then they put the tonsils down where the balls are.
Oh, do they still work? Did the plumbing work?
Yeah. It's weird. Every time a woman tickles my balls, I cough. And I gag.
Gagging my own semen.
Yeah. It's still there. The feeling still connects to the throat.
That's funny, but for some reason it killed the conversation.
Sometimes you just have nowhere else to go.
I realized that. I'm like, wow, that was funny, but wow, that was
sort of like a clown in a head-on collision. You're like, well, it's got a clown in it, so it's funny, but also it just fucking murdered him, and there's nowhere to go from here. Like a clown in a head-on collision, lightning crashes, and so does the clown.
Is that like some early 2000s, late 90s song?
It was mid to late 90s live Lightning Crashes.
Oh, yeah.
Whoa.
The lightning crashes.
Hang on the lane. Hey!
Wow, I forgot all about Live. What a shitty name for a band.
It was especially
Live.
Yeah.
Get it?
Yeah.
No, no one fucking
Also,
cares.
every time I tried to type your goddamn... I mean, granted, it was before the days of, like, Google and whatnot, or right around the time.
Oh, back in LimeWire
like,
days.
So I guess they weren't thinking about that, whereas nowadays you have to think about that. Like the band Churches, I really like. The reason they have the V is not just for aesthetic reasons. It's because they're like, people need to find us on the internet, and if people type in Churches, even Churches band... There's a lot of church bands out there. So, like, we need to
They are
identify
my favorite
it.
Christian rock group.
Yes, they are Churches. Yep.
Favorite Christian rock group.
That's right. My favorite.
I like all their uses of crosses. I don't know why their designer keeps getting them upside down on their album covers, but... Oh, well, mistakes happen in the workplace.
The old dyslexic Christian designer. Only it's upside down, not backwards. If you got it backwards, it'd still be a cross.
Speaking
they're
of crosses,
symmetrical.
what was that I said to a coworker the other day? Oh, it was... Isn't it ironic that a carpenter was put on a cross made of wood? Like a thing that was built of wood.
Oh, they probably made him build it. That's what I would do. Is that part of the Bible? It's been a while since I've read it.
Oh, that'd be amazing.
It definitely seems like, hey,
you're
man.
a carpenter, can you build all these crucifixes?
Yeah.
For what?
Yeah.
Not you.
Yeah, no, it's for another guy. This one says you want a monogram with Jesus? This insignia, that's me. Well, that's me.
But it is kind of ironic.
It's Jesus from down the street, and we want to crucify him, not you.
No, someone famous for being a carpenter was killed on something made by probably
Really?
a carpenter.
Was that why he was famous, Scott?
Most famous carpenter on earth.
Oh, I'm not doubting he was the most famous carpenter, but
Haven't you ever gone down the Google hole of all the houses he built, all the styles of furniture that we still have to this day?
well,
he made the 4-poster bed.
Yeah. Oh. Well, it's just more of the fact that you definitely insinuated that's the reason he's famous
For me.
like you knew him before it was like, no, I knew him from a carpenter way before the Christian thing.
I knew him before the Shays Lounge.
Yeah, I mean, it was like, I didn't even know it was the same Jesus in the Bible. And I was like, somebody's like, oh, you mean Jesus like in the Bible? I'm like, I think it was somebody different. This guy was a carpenter. He used to build things.
Hey, everyone punches out after 4 p.m. And you know what they do in their off time is what they do in their off time. If he wants to go and be like, yeah, I'm putting down the hammer and chisel. I'm going to go out in this field. I'm going to, save mankind by preaching the gospel.
Yeah.
Well, shit. I mean, that's his deal. I'm going to go get pissed drunk after, and we're probably going to meet up the next day back at work.
Yeah, and guess what?
He's still just Jesus who hammers the nails into the fucking boards.
Exactly.
Builds the chairs, builds the beds. He's just fucking Jesus.
He's not that special. I mean, I'm still alive and he's not, so fuck it. I mean, how special can he be?
Yeah,
I died for your sins. I didn't ask you to do that. Stop blaming me.
Can we make an argument for getting drunk after work? I'm alive.
Yeah. I outlived Jesus. Because, Fireball whiskey.
God.
Outlive fucking Jesus!
It must have
Fireball, use it if you want.
It must have been the materials they used back then, but all those red baseball caps that said "I outlived Jesus" didn't quite make it in the historical record, did they?
Yeah, the old "Make Jerusalem Great Again." First of all, Mujga just didn't quite have the same ring as MAGA.
Maybe if you weren't such a good carpenter, that crucifix would have broken and fallen, and you'd be alive.
I take pride in my work. Huh? Not like old Johnny over there. Who built that one for you? Jose next door? Yeah, he's on the ground. Yeah. He's on the ground getting away.
Now he's running.
Yeah.
Hey, Romans, get him. Get him. He's a bad carpenter and he should be crucified for it.
No, the law
Put on one of my crosses.
Like me. Look at this thing, huh? Can't fucking budge. I mean, these nails are beautiful, too.
That was the last 3 days of Jesus' life, worrying about all the workers back at the plant he started, where he's building all these crucifixes.
The carpentry plant.
all these pieces of furniture and crucifixes. He's really worried about what's going to happen after he's dead. So he's like, look how sturdy this cross is. I'm going to try to break free.
Yeah.
See? Can't break free from this.
Yeah. Jesus' crosses. Even after I'm dead, they won't be. Yeah. He's just doing like a little bit of marketing to get, guess what? The sales of Jesus' crucifixes skyrocketed. Mostly because people use them as symbols for him returning.
That is a missing book of the Bible.
It is, yes.
Everyone's like, what did he carpenter? We never actually hear about him making anything. No one's ever talked about, like, he invented a chair.
Yep, no.
He invented the 3-legged chair, the 9-legged chair, the 18-legged chair.
Yeah,
no one ever talks about that.
He was sort of a one-trick pony if you... I mean, if you don't count the gospel and the saving mankind part that people believe.
But we don't know what he actually made with his
no, because there's a whole chunk of time where... So we are actually writing... That's a better...
the Jesus years.
The years
I like to call
between.
them the Batman years, because...
Oh, yeah, you mean like where he's like, I'm a kid and bad things happen.
Batman had Jesus years, so why can't Jesus have Batman years?
Yeah, so there's going to be the years where I
Which
feel
Gotham is trying to fill in, and I hope when Gotham ends, they just do Jerusalem. And we get the Jesus year. We get the Batman years of Jesus.
Yeah.
Like his whole rogues gallery is...
Oh, you mean after they... Oh, yeah, you mean they do it for Jesus, yeah.
And with the same cast, too.
Yeah.
You get all the same characters that would in his late life would come to be detrimental or helpful, but they're all kids now. Jesus, and he's a teenager, and it takes place
Jerusalem, the Batman year.
It's on CW. Everyone's ripped.
Well, I mean, based on the pictures, the photographs we have of Jesus, he was ripped anyway. I mean, that guy didn't lose a fucking bit of muscle on that cross.
This fall on CW, Jerusalem. Ever wonder what happened to Jesus during his Batman years? They literally say it like that, too.
I definitely like the thought of Jesus being up with the cross and just using it as like a marketing ploy for that, and also be like, hey, you look pretty ripped up there, Jesus. Haven't lost an ounce of your muscle. I go to 24-hour fitness every night. Check it out. Ask for Matt. He's a personal trainer, and he's great. Man, although... even with muscles like these, I still can't pull these nails out of this amazingly sturdy cross. These nails also, by the way, made from Matt's nails. Yeah, that's right. The same Matt. I barely can only think of one name right now. Same Matt that is my personal trainer. So there we go.
All right, that's a healthy amount of new content.
Yeah, that's good, because I was actually afraid, looking at the timestamp when we got started that story, that we were going to run short, and now we have no worries about that.
Oh, I thought you were going to say, now we have no stories. So still a slight worry. We have 17 minutes to fill. How about we talk about your next story?
Yes, we do. Delta, the airline, explains airline...
Not Burke?
It'd be way funnier if it was Delta Burke explains airline fart filtering technology.
Delta, get on that.
Yes, please.
Dig up Delta Burke.
Is she dead? I think she is.
I think she is.
I feel like she should be.
I feel like the only designing woman...
We've asked, how many times on the show have we asked, are they dead?
Wait, I don't know if any designing women are still alive.
Oh, she's only 62.
Really?
Yeah.
I thought she was 62 when that show aired.
She's
Am I
62.
crossing my wires with Designing Women and Golden Girls again?
Well, probably, yeah. Golden Girls
Didn't Designing Women have an old Randy character and then like a male character that just popped in for once in a while?
I don't recall much about...
Golden Girls didn't have a male character.
I watched Designing Women, like I'm sure back when I was a kid because
So did I.
because you only had like 2 channels, so you had
It
to
was
watch.
the first time I saw a gay.
Oh yes, or that you know of. Yes, I'm sure you would pass by.
No. Literally, when I was a kid, that show was like breakthrough because there was
Oh, yeah.
that black gay dude,
Yep.
which was like doubling down on
Yep.
breaking down barriers. Kind of amazing.
Yeah, yeah.
And then he, in a super realistic
for the
fashion,
gay
dealt with
part.
a bunch of Southern people, and they were all cool with him.
Yeah, that's why the show was actually classified as science fiction.
Yeah.
when it,
That gay guy and all of his cool Southern friends.
yeah, we know that's how life works.
Yeah. No, that show would not have. That show could barely exist today.
Well, it's sort of like when you think about All in the Family, which was this really subversive show that was actually.
Yeah, where they
You know,
hated
well-
Polish people.
Well, what's like
Who
well
hates
regarded
Polish
as like
people?
a really like great social commentary, but nowadays we wouldn't be allowed to have that social commentary.
Oh,
We'd just
no,
be
no,
like,
we
oh,
wouldn't. No, the very people who would be calling for the equality would be the ones shutting down the show for having an open and equal voice.
yeah, and also using comedy to. I mean, granted, nowadays we don't necessarily need a sitcom to bring that stuff to the forefront as much because it can be brought to everything. But in the 70s, like you either had news. Or you had like
Also,
TV,
stand-up comedy.
Yeah.
In addition to that, they were the voices of a generation for bringing down the walls of not just gender and race, but social inequality.
Yeah, and it was very important.
And
designing women.
And nowadays, if you ever want to do that, you better have a lawyer.
I definitely feel like, or just have a canned apology ready for Twitter. It's got to be one.
So
of
what's that story about designing women we're on?
Yes. so
Delta Burke apologizes for owning a gay black man back in the 80s.
yeah. Well, the reason we had him on a show is because we didn't have to pay him because I owned him.
Yeah.
He stayed in my purse. Also, I made a pact with the devil, so I've been 62 for years.
Where's that young black gay stud you used to have in the show? I ate him.
Oh, this is Delta Burke now.
Yeah. That impression has not been on the show in a long time.
Wait a minute.
And I feel like it could work for Delta Burke.
I've never seen
Delta Burke and Paula Dean in the same room at the same time.
room at the same time.
Because they can't fit. Bada bing. Oh, yeah.
Fat shaming. Boom, boom, boom. We do some fat shaming. Bam, bam. That's a bass slide. And
If
also
it was
the sound
sound with butter.
sizzling bacon.
I can't believe it's not baseline.
Sizzling bacon solo. Okay, I can't believe it's not baseline. It's gonna be the name of the show.
I can't believe it's not baseline.
I love that. I love that. Anyway, so I'm
Delta
actually
Burke farts on a plane.
I'm actually talking about
We're almost there, people.
Delta Airlines,
we're almost there.
who took to Twitter after somebody, a Twitter user, actually apparently did some. It was shaky science to start with, but it was fun. It was this little science pointing out that based on people's average gas expulsion, that on a like 13-hour flight, the passengers all put together would somehow, like, it was some like 368 cubic inches, I think, of gas essentially would be expelled over the course of that flight.
Sorry, I'm trying to do the
Or
math.
maybe
to
it's
work.
maybe
I'm
it's
try-
meters.
trying to
I don't know.
work-
Hold on.
I'm trying to work the math and make those linear inches. I can only perceive farts in my head as sheets of paper.
as straight lines.
Yes, like how many rolls of paper, like reams of paper, would that be?
Oh yeah, where everybody's like, oh, if you stack those farts on top of each other, they'd reach the moon and back 6 times. 2019. And the
What did Delta Burke have to say about this?
so Delta Burke came back with the to them and said, well, we actually the Twitter user said, is there some kind of fart filtering technology on planes? Sort of tongue in cheek, but also a good question. Delta
It would just be air filtration.
got built in. That's essentially what it is. But it is relatively complex. But but it is one of these funny things where
You mean it's not a fan that pulls air and much like a vacuum would, and then runs it through a series of probably carbon filters?
Well, there is what they do is they use the actual jet engines to what they call, I think it's air bleed or something like that, where they allow essentially reuse. Or, I mean, the jet is already pushing a bunch of air, so they have essentially some of that air being piped back into the cabin because it's cold air. It's in the atmosphere. It's freezing cold up there. Even if it's nice and hot out, it's going to be cold up in the atmosphere there. So that actually pipes it in. I'm sure, again, pipes it through a bunch of filters. That leaks it out, and then there's this other stuff. Just like general air filtration. It's not, though, the thing that's different between that and, say, going to a casino where they're piping in like straight fucking oxygen. This is actually just actual, air from the actual environment. Again, I'm sure it's being purified and whatnot. But it does make when you smell a fart on a plane, which people do that sometimes. Of course, if you've been on any plane ride, somebody
fart
will
or
fart.
Smell a fart.
I would say smell a fart. I'm very good about holding my farts. I can honestly say I've never farted or taken a dump on a plane. It's been very.
I've never pooped on a plane either, and I've been
That
on a
would
lot
be
of
a
flights.
nightmare. That'd be a nightmare. I mean, I could definitely hold poop well enough to be like, all right. I mean, granted,
I'll poop
I've
at
never
the
had
airport terminal.
Yes.
Before getting on a plane.
No, I do have to
and
say,
guess what?
I understand.
I can hold my shit.
Yes, I have had instances where sometimes you can't necessarily hold it as well, but luckily I know I'm getting on a plane.
They give you barf bags. Luckily, they give you barf bags.
Just a
Bad it's cotton ball to wipe your ass.
So yeah, just go in the bathroom or whatnot, but don't necessarily poop in the toilet because you don't want people to catch you. Instead, shit in the barf bag and then come out and hold it out and just give it to one of the flight attendants.
Airplane toilets are literally for fucking. And
which actually,
pissing.
first of all, I don't even think that's true anymore. People say that, but if you've been in an airplane toilet, like they're not big enough now to like you as one person to barely turn around in and sit down in. It would be an uncomfortable fuck. I would still like to try it sometime, but I think all the Mile High clubs go back to those days where it used to be flights used to be roomier. Now they just pack everybody in as sardines to get the most money out of things, and part of the result of that is there's no room whatsoever in any of those bathrooms. Now maybe some more luxury flights have like first class bathrooms versus dirt people.
Oh, the first class bathrooms exist on every flight. Yeah. You just can't use them.
I know I've sat in first class, but like first class isn't always first class. First class on like a trip to DC is just more legroom. Like, there's no curtain or anything. It's like, oh, it's you.
It's Coach Plus.
Yeah, it's exactly. I mean, it's way better.
Well, I got moved up to Coach Plus once.
Yes,
I do Coach.
I've never been on one of those flights where like they've got like business class and then first class and business class where you do actually get like real special treatment. Which I just think is ridiculous too. Just fucking make everybody sit there and give everybody the same room. But I know it makes them money, whatnot, blah blah blah. Anyway, fart filtering technology does exist in the way that we just assumed it always did, which is just traditional air filtering, nothing special. The thing that it did get me down a little bit of a rabbit hole here, not actually during a rabbit hole, but it's one of these things where when you type in fart filtering technology into Google, other things are going to come up. And it turns out there is the original Shreddies, SHREDDIES, from myshreddies.com, which is flatulence filtering underwear. And flatulence filtering underwear does exactly what it sounds like. It has,
like, for real, it works. That's my biggest question. Does it actually work?
I haven't had a chance to try it out. I found this story just a few hours ago. But it has essentially a lining that has something that captures the odors as you fart, and it will release
more Febreze than the weight of your average house cat.
Yeah. I think it just
soaked into it. So if you ever fart, it's still gonna smell like that.
Yeah, and I was thinking between brought to you by Febreze and Arm & Hammer, because you put some certain things can help capture odors, so I could see this actually being something that makes sense.
Some banks can stop bank robbers.
Okay. I have no idea what your point is.
Well, if fire can escape, a bank robber can break into a bank.
Jesus Christ.
So we're going here. Like, even the most impenetrable underwear.
Oh, of course. Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Like,
some will get through.
Much like a safe in a bank.
Yeah, some will get through. They do actually also sell incontinent underwear, pretty much, which actually is...
You mean a diaper?
Well, no, that's the thing I was like, this is actually one of those things that a lot of people don't have out there. There are people who suffer from incontinence, and they have to go in and essentially buy adult diapers, which they look pretty much like diapers. Yeah. These are like those just with a little bit more like pizzazz. So if somebody pants you, which happens all the time.
Why are you wearing those weirdly thick, hot panties?
Yep.
They're really hot panties, but they're thick.
That's just how my
really
ass
thick.
looks like. It's what my ass looks like.
Why does the crotch have like 6 inches of foam? Memory foam.
Yeah. It is definitely going to be the equivalent of putting a pair of briefs over top of Pampers. Probably. I don't know. They actually looked at them and they definitely had more padding, but not like they didn't look too conspicuous.
Did you know as of this year, 2019, adult diapers outsell baby diapers in Japan?
Really?
Yep, aging population. More people are old than young in that country at the moment.
Well, that's very interesting.
Yep.
This was actually, given that information, it actually brings us well into the next, not the next story, but the next part of the sub story, which is actually about Japan, who have also developed.
If you say the same fucking thing I just said,
yeah,
and the aging population has
turns out, and what the crazy thing is. They're buying more adult diapers than baby diapers.
That would actually be hilarious if you just ignored me completely and went into a story about that.
No, but what I was trying to do, I missed a good segue opportunity. Then I started backpedaling to try to get back to the segue because I forgot the next story. Not the next story. The next piece of this last story came out of Japan, which is Japan had also developed fart deodorizing underwear. Similar thing, only it's meant to block a bunch of different odors. So, and I don't know if it's actually just for underwear. I think it could be used for other clothing. So people who have bad body odor, there are some people who clinically just can't get rid of that kind of thing. You can use it for that as well. So that's that. I don't know about new content. I guess more like just new products. Any good new product ideas?
I think we described the sexy underwear that was made of memory foam, 6 inches deep.
Yeah, I do like the memory foam underwear idea. That we just put it back on. You'll know if you put them on backwards because it's like, hey, that's my butthole, not my dick hole.
No, but I think whatever could be created that would be a new innovative item needs Delta Burke as our sponsor since she's still fucking alive. Who would have thought?
Only 62!
But she's not a healthy 62.
No, I don't think she was a healthy 22 when she was designing women either, though.
You're giving her a lot of credit on that age because that would put me at a negative. 50. Yeah. Well, when I watched it, I would have been a weird age.
That was an 80s show, right?
Late 80s, I think. Yeah.
Okay, yeah. I want to look it up while you close the show out.
All right. Well, thank you all for listening this week. Please tune in next week for episode 250. It's going to be a big old grand explosion of us trying to ask you guys for money.
Yes.
Don't take that as a bad thing. Don't skip it. Don't think this is some weird fluff. We're going to work really hard on putting out a lot of good content for you guys. We got a few guest stars, a few celebrities. We got a fun show coming up for you next week. A lot of extra content that you wouldn't otherwise get in our normal shows. We're still going to have a couple of fun tidbits of information of some stories here and there. But really, it's going to be more of a celebration of you, the listener. It's not at all. I'm using that generically. It's going to be about us. But it's going to be for them. It's going to be for you. So you can give us stuff. No, not really. We actually just wanted to make some good content for you and get a bunch of friends wrangled up and some good guest spots and some good pieces. We like pre-producing stuff. It's just too hard to do that on, for every single show. Also, that's not exactly what everybody wants to hear. So it's fun when we get together and make some, fun content and also get some good ads and exclusive movie trailers, things like that out of the way as well. Designing Women, September 29th, 1986, May 24th, 1993. Speaking of Designing Women, enjoy this random Designing Woman song we found. Get lost. Get lost.